Hey boxing fans, welcome to GSS Presents Punch Drunk. I'm Courtney Perna. Now mark your calendars, September 19th. We have a great card lined up, and the promoters responsible for that, Saul Rios of Borizteca and Cesar Garcia of Grito de Guerra. These guys are working together for the first time. They're ready for the next chapter of boxing and our new reality thanks to COVID-19. They put together some great matchups on this pay-per-view event here on Best in Boxing. First up, let's chat with Saul Rios about polishing the Diamond Boy, Kevin Torres. Saul Rios, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here today.
Now, of course, you've been with GSS and Best in Boxing from the beginning. You've actually been an integral part of keeping this movement in boxing going, particularly during COVID. You know, we're not just surviving here, now we're thriving because the industry and people like you, promoters like you at Borizteca, have been able to pivot. So how confident are you making the switch to pay-per-view when you have some of these still developing fighters?
Well, I think this came in the right moment. It came in a perfect timing because with this pandemic, there wouldn't be other way to do boxing. And I think being able to do a show, having the fighters on pay-per-view so people can watch them comfortably in their houses without risking anything with social distancing, I think it came great to us because it will open a window of opportunity for the future to keep doing fights with this new model.
Yeah, and I think that boxing, but also across the board in many different industries, that we realize not only what is possible now, but maybe what we should have been doing this whole time as far as sanitizing, but also ways to get your fighters out there into the world instead of just people who happen to be there physically.
Definitely. I think this came to change the way we were conducting business in boxing. So I think it's something that's not going to go away, just something that came to change the whole panoramic of how we used to do things. And it's for a good change because, like you say, now we're going to be more concerned of sanitizing the ring, gloves, making sure we have some distance between judges and the ring. And I think that's for the better of boxing.
Now, I mentioned that you have been integral. You've been with GSS and Best in Boxing from the beginning. So we certainly appreciate your ability to pivot and your positive attitude towards having to do things differently with COVID. But let's be honest, what was your thoughts when it first everything got shut down? Because honestly, no audience affects your bottom line. So what did you think back in March when we were all kind of nervous? And how has it changed over the last few months?
Well, it actually affected me at the beginning because I was starting to do fights in San Diego. I started doing fights in Mexico. I did my transition to come to the U.S. We have a great show in October and I already had a show scheduled for April. I had to cancel that show because of the pandemic, and it just made me thought about how we were going to do things from now on, especially for small promoters. We don't have, TV, the big TV networks, and we depend a lot about from the gate, And now knowing that we're not going to have any tickets to sell, it was something that we had to really think about it. But working with GSS and Armando, we've been working together for the last 4 or 5 years. I think, like I said before, he came in the perfect time when he was able to launch pay-per-view for global sports streaming and working together. I know we were going to do a good thing and be able to produce a good show for the people.
And I know that Armando has believed that from the beginning, that it's not just the fighters in San Diego that you sold, or the audience rather, that you sold tickets to, but now we're able to promote these boxers and fans are able to see them develop through the years thanks to the internet. So I know that's been his vision from the beginning. How has that affected some of your fighters, knowing that now people across the world, and even you just as a promoter, people across the world now, fans, can see more boxers in their developmental stages?
Yes, and that's been a great thing because, like you said, we started promoting local boxers, and they would bring their families, their friends into the arena. So they were well known in the region of San Diego, Tijuana. But now that that's not possible, being able to promote it now worldwide just give them more motivation for them to perform better, to train harder, because now they know they're going to be showing in a bigger showcase. So
Right.
they understand that they have now to look good.
And we have a big showcase coming up on September 19th. You have a couple fighters on there. Let's first talk about the main event. We have Kevin Torres versus Jose Cuevas, the Knockout Kings. I just love this. I love the hype behind it. What are you seeing from these fighters?
Well, I think this is a great, well-matched fight. I'm very proud to be able to promote this show next September 19th. In Rosario is going to be in front of the ocean. We're going to have the ring set up in front of the beach. It's going to be great.
Wow.
Summertime Rosario. But the most important thing is that I've been promoting Kevin Torres from the beginning. And now to know that he's going to face a great opposition in Jose Cuevas, 13 and 1 record, 11 knockouts, and it's going to be a good test for him to know if he's going to be ready for what's going to come next year. For him to fight a great opposition in the U.S. With big promoters.
Yeah, because I know Kevin Torres has more than 77, I think, percentage knockout rate. He's never been knocked out. Do you think this is going to test his chin and his defense for the first time?
Well, his chin was tested very well on his only loss because he fought a guy by the name of Chivas Rodriguez. He got knocked down twice on that fight. He got up, finished the fight very strong. So that showed me a lot that his chin was tested. So his battle tested. But on this particular fight, it's going to be another challenge because he's facing a guy with a bigger knockout percentage. I know Jose Cuevas, I know he's a very explosive, aggressive fighter. The first 3-4 rounds, he's going to come at it. So it's going to show a lot to see how Kevin's going to weather the storm.
Does it change his training at all when you know you're facing somebody who also has a one-punch knockout potential?
Yeah, we got to change a lot of his the tactical part of the fight, like make him a little bit more of a boxer, because also he doesn't have to depend on going and fighting him just toe to toe. So he has to move a little bit more, box him a little bit, to wear him down, and then he can start showing also his power.
Now, as a promoter, you put a lot of faith into these fighters, and you mentioned Kevin Torres got knocked down a couple times in a recent fight. As a promoter, do you hold your breath and wait to see, all right, what's he going to do? How's he going to react? And then when he does react so well like he did, are you like, yes, I knew it? Or do you get nervous at that point because you really kind of see what kind of fighter you got?
I used to fight before, and honestly, I get more nervous now than when I used to fight myself, because at least when I used to fight, I had control over what was going to happen on the fight. I don't have any control over that now, so I'm just trying to see what they're doing on the ring, and yeah, I'm just holding my chair, and it's very nerve-breaking, but especially because I have a lot to do with the matching of the fight. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I can blame myself if I think it was a tough match, especially like this one. This is going to be something that's going to prove me and prove Kevin that he's ready for the next level.
But a tough match, win or lose, can really make you look good, and you don't want to pad the resumes and sugarcoat anything. So it's like, hey, even if he does lose, I hope he does it. But if he does, you're like, but it was to this other dude that was really good. So, I think Best in Boxing, and of course you guys have as well, has done a really good job with those matchups in general. What do you look for when you are putting fighters in the ring together?
Well, as a promoter, we always want to try to put the best fights on paper. Sometimes we have great, match fights, but then once the fight starts, sometimes everything changes. You can have a match fight on paper, and then during the fight, it's not really that good. And the opposite, you have matches that you think, oh, that guy's going to lose in the first round, and it turned out to be really great fights, like wars. So for this particular show, we do have a great show. We have a kid by the name of Brennan Macias. He's fighting for the World WBC Youth title, 21 years old, I believe 22 years old. He's going to face another great fighter too. So it's going to be a very good, complete show that we're going to have for September 19th.
And let's talk about, we have Mario Ramirez as well going against Jorge Alvarez. You match those two up together. Mario fights under your banner. What can we expect from him? Because Mario hasn't fought since December, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, Mario haven't fought since December, but I was very pleased because that fight he did in December was being one of the best fights I ever seen him. He fought a 9-1 guy, very tough competition, and he really looked good. We're changing a little bit the way he's doing things. Mario is from Ensenada. It's a small town. Not a small town. It's a city like an hour and a half away from the border. We're going to move him over to Tijuana so he can be closer. We're going to change his trainer. And I think coming up Monday, he's coming to Tijuana. And he's very motivated because he really wants to do something big in the boxing business.
You said you're changing his trainer. What's the flip-flop there?
Yes, well, being in Ensenada is, like I said, like an hour and a half away from here, from San Diego. I want to have a closer look at him. I want to be able to go and control more of his training, make sure he's training 100%. Because he's a very young, talented kid. He's only 21 years old, already has 15 professional fights. And we want to make sure we kind of have a closer look at him because we're getting him ready for next year for bigger fights.
Now, let's go back to Kevin Torres. I know that I actually announced his name at the Best in Awards for Fighter of the Year back in December. So I'm going to bring that up when I talk to him as well. But where is he at in the developmental stages of his game? Because I know he didn't have a lot of fights under his belt as an amateur and moved to the pros pretty quickly.
No, I think he only did between 46 and 50 amateur fights, which can seem like a lot, but they're really not. You know, when you talk to amateur fights, there's fighters that have 150, 200 fights, 300 fights. You know, so it wasn't really much for him. He started boxing at the age of 13, and I think I've seen his development from the beginning. And he's been learning a lot. He's been becoming a more aggressive fighter. I think this fight is going to be a surprise for everyone because we're going to see a total different Kevin Torres. We're going to see him be more aggressive. He has more speed. So I'm very pleased of what I'm seeing of him in the gym. I was able to see him last week in a sparring session. He's looking great.
Kid's got charisma, too. I got to give it to him.
He has charisma. Good-looking, handsome kid. Very disciplined, soft-spoken. I like the kid. I compare him like when Oscar de la Hoya just became pro and he came out of the Olympics. He has that look. He's a girl. The
golden boy, and we got the diamond boy now.
Diamond boy. Let him shine like a diamond on September 19th. He's going to shine like a diamond for sure. And like I said, he's a very charismatic kid.
That's right. Now, anything else you want fans to know about Borizteca's camp coming out before these pay-per-views?
Yes, I mean, I want to tell everyone to please support boxing, support Borizteca, because I think the only way we can keep the sport alive, especially during this time, is just supporting our fighters, buying the pay-per-view, $5.99. When they come to the arena live, you know, we sell tickets for $25, $30, $50. Now it's just $5.99, and you can sit back in your couch in the comfort of your house, watch great fights. We're going to have 9 professional fights. 5 of them are going to be for free, so you can start watching the fights and see that we're going to show a lot of good action, good fights, and then wait to see the main fights on the pay-per-view show.
That's right. Those free prelims are actually going to be during my pre-show that I have Best in Boxing before the bell. So I'm excited that I actually get to watch some of the fights because normally I'm wrapping up in the studio when they start. The prelims, like you said, will actually be during the pre-show that I'm hosting. So Saul Rios, thank you so much. Promoter of Borizteca, co-promoter for the Global Sports Streaming Best in Boxing pay-per-view coming up on September 19th. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Courtney. And also, now that you just say co-promoter, I want to say thanks to Cesar Garcia. He's from Grito, the Guerra Promotions. We're co-promoting this show together. Hopefully, we can keep working together in future shows. So I think we're great, doing a great thing with Armando. And I'm just expecting a great show coming up September 19th. Thank you for having me.
All boxing fans are. Thank you so much for your support as well. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Best in Boxing presents September 19th.
This is a young man that they have tremendous hope for.
Kevin Torres takes on Jose Cuevas in a power for power showdown.
And this is not body repair, folks. This is body destruction.
A lot of power in both hands. He scored a lot of knockouts here in the Best in Boxing. A lot of one-punch knockouts.
That's it. That's all she wrote. Kevin Torres with the sensational first-round knockout.
The Diamond Boy Torres.
Kevin Torres versus Jose Cuevas, September 19th, 3 p.m. Pacific. Only $5.99 pay-per-view. Tickets on sale now at bestinboxing.com.
He's a gym owner, a manager, promoter. He also says he's a shrink, a brother, a father, and just happens to do real estate on the side too. He's a man of many talents with many talented fighters in his stable. We recently got a chance to talk to Cesar Garcia. And the co-promoter for September 17th Global Sports Streaming Best in Boxing. What did I say, 17th? Just kidding. Okay, 3, 2.
Courtney, right?
Right, yeah. 3, 2. And the co-promoter for the September 19th Best in Boxing pay-per-view, we have Cesar Garcia from Grito de Guerra. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Courtney. Thanks for having me. Looking forward. I'm really looking forward to working with Best in Boxing and with Saul. So hopefully it all turns out good.
Yeah, Saul said thanks. He gave you a shout out too during his interview.
Awesome.
Now, let's talk about the promotional company you have. I mentioned Grito de Guerra. It means war cry. So what kind of, that makes me just conjures up these images of warriors. So what kind of vibe do you have at your camps?
Well, one thing that I always tried to focus on is having really good fights. I'm not really too focused on A or B side fighters. We want fights. And I think I've accomplished that. I've had 3 promotions in Guadalajara, and they've all been. I mean, of course, I'm biased. I'm going to be biased in my answers here, but they were great fights, all of them, and that's what we want kids to know, that if they come fight for us, they're going to fight, but they're also going to be taken to the next level just because of the types of fights you're going to get.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, you're the co-promoter for a pay-per-view event coming up, and you put together some of these fights, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to Junior Cervantes. What can we expect with that?
Yeah, man, Junior is a pretty explosive kid. He's a baby. He's only 18 years old, so he's got a lot of growing to do. But, he's already he puts his sparring partners down quite often. And he's done that in the times he's fought on Saul's cards, and we want to continue to feature him. But yeah, the kid he's a little bit of he's a beast, for being so young.
Do you get nervous putting such a young kid in there? I mean, mentally, there's a lot of growing up that's done, I guess in the next few years for him.
I do get nervous. I mean, when I fought, I didn't get as nervous as I do now with my guys fight. So I get nervous. No matter how much you prepare them and you believe that they're going to win, that I don't know, I don't want to call it doubt, but anything can happen in boxing, and that's always in your mind, so it definitely makes you nervous.
That's hilarious, because that's exactly what Saul said. He said he's so nervous as a promoter, more nervous than he ever was as a fighter. Absolutely. When you're fighting, it's a good time. You're under control. You know what you can do, what you can't do. But when you're promoting or even managing these kids, you throw them up there, and in a sense, you cross your fingers and just kind of pray to the sky. I hope everything works out the way you plan it. That's right. And Junior's not your only explosive fighter. You have a great stable of fighters under your banner. Brandon Valdez, we've got Aline Khan, both recently fought on ESPN. Brandon Valdez, what happened there? Do you think it was because he cut too much weight? Or I know that he had a shot at the bantamweight, super bantamweight title, but lost on Telemundo. What do you think? What was your takeaway?
Yeah, my first instinct when they originally offered me the fight, I didn't really like the fact that it was 122 pounds. We had already spoken with Brandon and with Coach Manny, and we had decided to leave 122 behind and move up to 126 for the simple fact that Brandon is growing still. He just turned. He's about to turn 22, but he's probably not going to grow as much. But when he got to us at 18, he was really thin. And we fought at 122, no problem. But as he's become more of a man, he got bigger. It's not that easy to make 122 anymore. So my first instinct was like, well, I don't really want to do that. But it was for a title. The money was okay, but really he wanted that belt. We felt that he can beat the opponent. I mean, we felt comfortable as far as ability-wise that he could do it. I don't want to say I doubted that he could make 122. I knew he could. I just think he would be losing in doing so, and he did. He lost a lot of his strength, a lot of his quickness. He wasn't in prime condition for that fight because of that. And I mean, I guess you could say we paid the price. Although we feel happy with his performance, we feel that he gained a lot of experience, and I believe he actually got stronger as a fighter for going through what he did. And now, absolutely, we leave 160 at perhaps even 130 pounds.
Yeah, a lot to learn inside and outside of the ring there on that one. And I think that it's always good to have some kind of learning experience and that experience in general. Now, when you get to work with these fighters inside the ring and then also take it out on the outside of the ring, you have a crop of young fighters that you are really influencing to become men. What is that like for you to be on both sides?
Well, honestly, I always tell people as a manager, because I'm also a manager here in the States. I'm a promoter in Mexico, but as a manager, manager is probably the least of my titles. I'm a big brother, I'm a dad, I'm a mentor, I'm a shrink, all these things combined into one. And yeah, I always said, no matter how good these fighters are, the chances of becoming a world champion are pretty slim. A lot of things have to go your way to do so. So if they don't become champions and I help them become good quality, men and family people as they get older, then I think my job or whatever they hired me to do has been a success just off that alone. Of course, they want to be champions. I want them to be champions. They want to make money. I want them to make money. So that's the number one goal. But I mean, it's a reach to accomplish that all the time, So at the very least, I know I can help them become men, and that's pretty satisfying in itself,
Yeah, that is really cool. We appreciate that for sure. And we certainly appreciate you and Grito de Guerra, of course, Borizteca, co-promoting September 19th. You guys have been with us and through this pivot, so to speak, that coronavirus has set up for us. We certainly appreciate you going through this new reality of boxing and what sports in general is becoming. How was the change like for you, realizing, oh man, we're losing the gate, we're losing the audience, we're losing the money of people coming in, and then maybe when you realize, oh, this streaming thing, this pay-per-view thing, like this could actually work. So take me through that kind of roller coaster of emotions.
Well, it's one of them things. It's either you adapt or you die. So we've had to adapt. Thought it was a great idea from Saul and Armando to do the pay-per-views. It might end up sticking even after this whole pandemic thing blows over. So I think it was just a natural for what we're doing now to evolve into that. I mean, that's the new world. People paying for apps, people paying for stuff online all the time. So I think it's going to add to what we've already been doing as promoters. And right now it's going to be what, but it's we can't, we lost you.
There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Can you just repeat that last part about what you're doing as promoters? We heard most of it. You're saying as promoters, and then we lost you.
Yeah, I mean, as promoters, we have to adapt. We have to adapt and move on. We unless we don't want to be in this no more because we can't have a crowd, then we leave the whole business in general. But I know, Saul knows, even Armando knows now that once you're in boxing, there's really there's no way out. You're in. And so we're in. We just gotta, yeah, exactly. So we gotta figure out how to make it happen in a way that'll work for us, and for the fighters. And we put our minds together and figure it out, and we move on. We make it happen.
And I think the COVID-19 restrictions that have been put on the sports industry in general, and particularly on boxing, was something at first that was forced upon us, and now we're like, actually, this might work out pretty good, because I've talked to some fighters who've told me their fan base, they immediately recognize an expansion. Now people from the United Kingdom are messaging them from other countries. So it's not just the people in your region that would buy a ticket to come see you. There's people from all over the globe now that are becoming fans, particularly in these developmental stages. So how do you think that might affect, the push forward for your fighters?
Well, one thing that I hope happens is that we end up getting fighters from other places that want to come fight with us. We want to welcome them. I mean, it's if they want to come from anywhere, from the UK, from Australia, from wherever, we'll welcome them. We'll do whatever it takes for them to fight, with us, knowing that their family back home can watch them. So hopefully that's one of the things that ends up happening with this. I'm not counting on it, but I think it's a possibility, a real possibility that it can happen.
Cesar, I think you should just do an official challenge. Be like, I challenge y'all. Come on, bring it on.
Well, we're working on something. We're working on a project that is going to be something like that. Hopefully it works out the way we think it will, But this is only the beginning. We're as we move forward, we make adjustments and we better it so that it ends up being a positive for everybody. So, this first show's we're looking forward to it, but I think from this point forward, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you're a manager, you're a promoter, you're a father, brother, shrink. You also own a boxing gym, Black House Boxing in LA. I got to say that's a good way to scheme and check out new talent, I think. Is that why you own a boxing gym?
I mean, it is. It started because I wanted my guys a place to train, and me not having to pay for a monthly every month. Little did I know what I was getting into, but I mean, I love it. I work from the gym. My work is real estate. I work from the gym. I'm at the gym all morning. My guys are training, and then a plus for me is that I get to see kids come in and out, and I don't want to say I get to pick and choose, you know what I mean? But I do get to pick and see who I may want to work with, assuming they want to work with me. And then I also work with Coach Manny Robles at my gym. So just having him as my head coach at my gym is a great way for doors to open with fighters all over the world. I mean, we got kids from the Ukraine, we got kids from Mexico, we got kids that come from other parts of the United States, Japanese kids, and they all come to my gym. And so, I get to see them all. And luckily for me, sometimes I get to pick the ones I want to work with. Yeah.
That's fantastic. You're certainly a man of many talents there. Talk to me a little bit about the card that's coming up on September 19th. What have you put together for us?
Well, Saul has been the main matchmaker. I got to give him all the credit for that. I just know that as far as my guys, I had a kid fighting 154-pounder who's still up in the air, Elvis Bravo. We may move him somewhere else, but absolutely for me, Junior is a kid that I want to continue to develop. I've already have interest from people in the States about him. So I want to continue to develop him, putting him up against, those tough Mexican kids out there. I mean, we just faced one in out there in Orlando this past Friday with Brandon. And we were prepared for him, but maybe not as much as we thought. So now Junior, he gets to learn from what we just went through, and we're gonna give him a tough kid as well. And hopefully he learns, because it only gets tougher, man. And then these kids in Mexico, they like to fight.
They're tough, and they're very aggressive style, typical Mexican style, but it is really good to see those different styles and different kinds of fighters, even if it does mean a loss early in your career, so that you're ready for it when you see it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brandon, having faced this kid, it wasn't the ideal person we wanted to face, considering, but I mean, when you put a belt on the line, it's hard to turn it down.
That's right.
So we did it. Like I said, it was a tough fight for Brandon, and he's all the better for it, to be honest with you. He went through a lot to finish the fight, and I think he got stronger because of it.
All right, thank you so much. Cesar Garcia of Grito de Guerra, co-promoting our pay-per-view event coming up on September 19th. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and wherever you're going there, driving in your car, I hope you get there safely.
I'm safe. I pulled over, so I'm not driving.
Good. You're a good boy like that. All right. Good citizen on the road.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Courtney. Look forward to seeing you.
Tune in September 19th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern to watch the prelim fights on Best in Boxing's Before the Bell. I'm hosting that pre-show live from Las Vegas, and the fighters, well, they'll be going live from a gorgeous beach in Rosarito, Mexico. You can watch all the action right on your couch at bestinboxing.com for $5.99. See you then.